When things aren't going your way, it can be really, really hard to be on the lookout for the lesson or the insight the experience has for you. Hello, 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 and welcome to More Than Money, a podcast where we have nuanced conversations about money, business, and life, where we take the time to explore the human side of money because success with money is never just about the numbers. I'm your host, Jacquette Timmons, and I am really, really glad that you are joining me today. So, whether this is your very first episode or one of many, thank you. And before we dive into today's episode, it is almost time for our biannual pricing masterclass, Pricing Made Human. And I know that for a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners, getting your pricing correct as in the price that's right for you and your business and what you offer, that is never a one and done exercise. And while there isn't a general rule of thumb regarding how often you should review your pricing, because it depends on factors like what is your market, what do you offer, who are your clients, who's your competition, and other economic factors. And that's all just a beginning point. I am of the mindset that it should be done regularly, and if not done at least quarterly, that it should be done at least twice a year. But that's the next best thing. And June is right around the corner. And that's perfect timing for our biannual pricing masterclass. Like I said, Pricing Made Human. And that is where we take the pause at the mid year point to take a holistic look at your approach to pricing, looking at your relationship with money, your relationship with yourself, with your business, and with your folks, your prospects, your clients, and your customers, because all of that plays both obvious and subtle roles in your pricing. So to learn more and to hopefully join us in June, check out jacquettetimmons.com/pricing dash masterclass. Again, jacquettetimmons.com/pricing dash masterclass. But in the meantime, let's get into today's show. Over the weekend, I posted a video on social media and I was asking the question, what makes someone good with money? And it's a question that I have been noodling on as I navigate a tricky financial period in my business. Or as a dear friend describes it, when money is funny. And what prompted the question was the frustration and the disappointment that I had and was having regarding a few deals that recently fell through. And no, I don't have the expectation that I will get every opportunity that I want. But these recent no's hit a little differently. You see, I had plans, and I mean immediate plans for those monies once they hit my account. I never spend it before it hits my account, but I did have plans because I have a use of proceeds. Like, what am I going to do with this money once it comes in? However, the no's brought about a change in my plans. And as a result, I had to press pause on moving forward with two folks that I was really excited to work with regarding my professional development. And quite frankly, I was embarrassed and I had a heck of a lot of head trash with having to say to them, yes, I really want to work with you, but I'm unable to move forward right now. That sucked. And it sucked big time. And one of the things that you need to know is that I spend five figures each year working with different professionals to help me get better at my craft and to help me run my business better too. That said, I have a rule, and that rule is I don't finance my professional development. I make these kinds of investments from my cash flow. And if it is the case that I do use a credit card instead of my debit card or an ACH, it is because I already have the cash on hand. It's a rule that I put into place to protect my cash reserves and my bottom line. It's a rule that stems from a lesson learned from the past when I did put both at risk. And that is just simply not something that I am willing to intentionally do again. And in my work, every day in some form or another, it's my job and it's one that I love, helping others manage the intricacies of the intersection that is money, business, and life. Interestingly enough, one of the ways in which I do this is sharing how I am doing the same, especially when money is funny. And it is my hope that doing so contributes to people and perhaps even you feeling less alone and feeling less judged. And it is also my hope that you feel the empathy that I have for each person's unique experience with money, especially if this is hitting your ear or your screen, if it's the case that you're joining me from YouTube at a time when you too are navigating a challenging time with your finances. So, I wanted to hop in here in this episode and share with you a few suggested, what I call little strategic choices that are designed to make the process of going through this moment a little bit easier and to help you get onto the other side. So this first choice is to turn, or I'm not turn, tune is what I'm trying to say, tune into your relationship with money. Take a moment to check in on your connection with money. Does it feel positive and intentional, or are you feeling more stressed and angry? And the key thing here is don't label your feelings as good or bad. Just simply notice what you are feeling. In my case, doing this confirmed that my intimacy and connection around money is more important than the head trash that I had about being unable to do what I wanted to do. Here's another one: have and honor your money rules. If you work with me one on one or have attended any of my speaking engagements, you know that I'm a huge fan of having money rules. These are the things that help you to know what you are going to do in advance of when you must do something. However, it's not enough to just have the rules. You must respect them and follow them, or purposefully change them when necessary. And in my case, my choice to prioritize a healthy cash reserve and bottom line is an example of following my cash flow rule. Plus, it helped me to shift my initial feelings from being angry for having to make a choice that I really didn't want to make to, quite frankly, feeling grateful that I even could. Sit with that for a second. Here's another one. Here's another choice: focus on the long game. Everything changes, everything fluctuates. So the ups and downs, the ebbs and the flows of money, of business, of life, they are just a natural part of the journey. And for many, the hard part is learning to embrace the ebb as much as you do the flow. And what I've come to notice is that it is often the case that during the slow period is when you discover just how resilient, adaptable, and creative you are. In my case, I had to remember that with almost 30 years of entrepreneurship under my belt, this is not the first time that I've had to navigate a season of slower sales than I'd like, or be more mindful about my cash flow. And fortunately for me, I have evidence A of having done it before, and B of being in a better position this time around. So, yeah, very grateful for that. Before I go on, though, it must be said, only a lucky few get to choose when their entrepreneurial or small business journey comes to an end. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that. So, side note, caveat. Here's one more little strategic choice: seek out the lesson and the insight. When things aren't going your way, It can be hard to be on the lookout for the lesson or the insight the experience has for you. Yet doing so is really a sign of curiosity, of growth, and self awareness. It's how you can, with self compassion, reflect on where you are and perhaps even what got you there. It is what can become the inspiration to turn your setback and challenge into a comeback and an opportunity for the future. In my case, my aha, my insight was acknowledging the extent to which I was judging myself and thought I was being judged by others. And can I tell you, it was such a release. It was like, putting a pin in a balloon and just feeling the air come out. To have the experience of when I said, to those two folks that I most wanted to work with, of, I really want to work with you, but I'm going to have to put pause. Both of them responded with, I get it. I understand. When you're ready, let's move forward. And I say that because, after all, does a financial behaviorist with my particular area of focus, and experience, do I experience money and business challenges? Well, since I am a human and not in absolute control of everything that does or does not happen, and that just really drives me, a little bit of a control freak, crazy, the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, I do. And the key is not so much what happens, but rather how I respond and engage with what happens. And guess what? The same is true for you too. And here's my final suggestion, at least in terms of the time constraints of today's episode. So, my last little strategic choice is to focus on abundance. It might seem odd to suggest this, but I find that when money is funny, that is precisely when you need to be more generous. At least this has been my experience. And in my case, how I tend to do that or express that or show it is I tend to tip more, or I will start to buy books, more so than usual, if you will, that are authored by friends and colleagues. And it's quote unquote small acts like these that put me in a position to see beyond my current financial constraints, which, if I focus on exclusively, tend to foster a mindset of scarcity when it comes to money. However, if I want more money to flow to me, I need to create the space for that to happen. And doing the things that I just shared with you, that's my way of doing that. This is my version of having an abundance mindset. So now we've come to the part in the episode where I flip the channel and I ask you, what is your answer? What is your answer to the question, what factors make someone good with money? Is your answer connected to metrics like how much someone earns, how much they save, how or in what they invest, how or on what they spend? Is it all of these? Is it a combination of these? Is it something entirely different? However you answer, I hope that you will keep in mind that it is a journey filled with a series of little, quote unquote, strategic choices. And I hope that what I've shared in today's episode helps you to make them. And by the way, if you'd like to share with me your answer, please do so. Please send me a DM on Instagram because I really would love to know. But for right now, my friends, that is it for today. As always, thank you so much for listening and listening all the way until this point to the end. If you'd like to show appreciation for this podcast or perhaps this particular episode, please do me a favor and share it so that we can reach more people. Share it with your friends, your colleagues, and your family. This will help us to reach more people than we could on our own. And if you happen to be listening on Apple Podcasts, please take a moment to leave a rating and a review. A, we do read them, but two, it helps with the algorithm. So let's just be clear about that. And if you are on YouTube, thank you for that. We're, getting more subscribers each time. So that's lovely. Please leave a comment below. And of course, finally, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, here's how you can do that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Jacquette. buymeacoffee.com/Jaquette. I will be back with another episode, and I will hope you will join me then too. But until then, remember, it's about more than money.